Hey, this is Chris with Westside Tech Solutions. Today, I'm going to show you what I think is the best hosting solution for Payload CMS, how to set it up, and why I think it's the best. So if you haven't heard of Coolify before, it's an open source platform as a service. You can self-host this portal to manage your web applications, databases, and other services. This is really awesome because there are other softwares out there like Vercel that charge you to do this exact same thing. The nice thing is you can bring your own hosting too. So you're not confined to any sort of hosting provider. You can choose what you want. This means you can use AWS, you can use DigitalOcean, you can use Hetzner, or even your own Raspberry Pi server. So why is this so awesome? Again, to me, it all goes back to price. I ended up going with a Hetzner Cloud server here. You can see how affordable it is. You can choose a shared CPU Intel VPS that's got 4 gigabytes of RAM for $459 a month. If you compare this to the Payload Cloud pricing for $35 a month, these are the specs that you get, including only half a gig of RAM. In my case, I ended up going with the dedicated CPU, hoping for better performance. Out of this, I got 8 gigs of RAM, 80 gigs of storage, and 20 terabytes of traffic for only $15 per month. The great thing about this too is that I can put multiple projects onto this server. Because Payload's pretty lightweight, I'm expecting I can fit 10 to 15, maybe even close to 20 projects on one of these servers. And then if it is not quite enough space, I can expand it vertically and give it a little bit more to work with. So as you can see, I'm already saving quite a bit of money just with the server. And then Coolify itself is free to use as well. So I'm saving money there too. So far, I've compared this to Payload Cloud pricing, but before this, I was on DigitalOcean and I was running a droplet. I was hosting one site for about $14. And before that, I was using EC2 and I was just hosting the same site for about $22. Once I get this VPS set up, I'm going to have 4 to 5 sites on there and they're going to be sharing that $15 cost. It's way cheaper. So how do we get this set up? I'll walk you through it. The first thing that you'll have to do is create a Hetzner account. I was going to put a Hetzner referral link in the description, but I'm not actually eligible quite yet to do that. The day that I am eligible, I'll go ahead and put that in there. You'll get a free $20 credit with Hetzner if you use it to sign up. I don't get paid for that, but I do get a $10 credit on my account. So if you could use it, that'd be great. Anyway, once you've got your account created, you'll want to go here and create a resource and you're going to create a server. For the location, I'm located in West Michigan, so I chose Ashburn, Virginia for the East region. And then for the image, I clicked on apps, and Coolify is actually a one-click integration. From here, you can choose your server type. Again, I went with dedicated CPU and I chose the lowest specs for $15 a month. You'll also want to create an SSH key. I'll drop in a command here on screen showing you how to do that. And then in my case, I also enabled backups. This is optional, but it was only 20% more, bringing the total from $15 to $18. And then at the bottom, you can name your server too. After that, you can go ahead and create it and buy it now. I'm not going to do this. I've already done it, but this is exactly what I did. So this will take a few minutes to spin up. Coolify took 5 to 10 minutes to install. And then once you're done, you'll get the server's IP from your Hetzner dashboard and go to port 8000. The first thing it will do is prompt you to create an account. You'll want to do that as fast as you can. If you don't do it right away, someone else could get there first and create an account, and then you lose control of your server. So now that that's done, I'm going to walk you through setting up a Payload CMS app. The first thing that you want to do is create a project. And then once you create a project, go into it and you're going to want to add a resource. So we'll go resources new. And this is going to be, in my case, I used a private repository with a deploy key. So I'm trying to remember, I think Coolify here helped me create a private key. And then I had to go to the GitHub repository. I went to settings and then deploy keys. And then this is where I added the deploy key that I created from Coolify. Once I did that, I had to put in the repository URL here, specify the branch. I chose Nixpack for my build pack. You can also do Docker. I chose Nixpack. It was 10 times easier. And then the port. I left is static site unchecked because I just want it to run the server. From there, you can click continue and you'll create your web application. So now that your web application is created, you can see everything at a splash here and do some configuration. I changed the name. You can look at the domain. And the first thing that you'll want to do is put your commands in here. There's an install command, a build command, and a start command. These I took right out of my package.json file. I did have to slightly change the start command to get it to work on here. I'll put that command on screen now and in the description. The other thing is I made the base directory the root of the repository. And then finally, I had to map port 3000 to port 3000. So the next thing you need to do is you need to go to environment variables and you need to put in all of your environment variables. I copied these right from my project. There's a few things that you'll have to change. One of them is going to be the next public server URL. You'll want to go back to the configuration here, grab the domain, and use that for the next public server URL. The next thing is the database URI. We don't have a database yet, so we've got to get one created and then use the URI in this variable. So to do that, we'll go back to the root of the project. We'll create a new resource, and this one's going to be a MongoDB database. So this one, you can give a name, you can change the username and password. What we really need here is the Mongo URL internal. So you use the internal URI if the database is going to be on the same server as the web application. In my case, it is, so this was much easier. I copied the database URI and I used this for the env variable. I had to slightly modify it. I had to add the database name and one more optional flag. I couldn't get it to work without that. So I'll show the changes that need to be made to this internal URI on screen now. Once you've made those changes, you'll want to go back to the web application. So at this point, you should actually be able to deploy this project. The only thing is I got on the site and I didn't have any images. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a persistent storage volume. You'll have to give it a name, a source path, and a destination path. So I've already done this, but I'll explain. The source path is the path on the server where you're storing your files. So in my case, I SSH'd into the server, I created this directory, and then I SCP'd all of the files into that directory from my local project. I'll share the command that I use right here. And then the destination path is the path inside of the Docker container that you want to mount this directory to. My payload media files were in the /media directory of the root of my project. You've got to prefix this project with /app. That's just how Docker works. Once this volume is created and your files are copied onto the server, you need to redeploy. You can do that by clicking up here and redeploying the project. After the project is deployed, go ahead, copy the domain and paste it into the URL bar. You've got to make sure that you go to the port that you specified. So in my case, I specified port 3000. I mapped port 3000 to 3000. So I've appended port 3000 to the URL they provided me, and the website is live. This is exactly what I wanted to see. This is a database-driven Payload CMS app hosted on Coolify and Hetzner. It seemed to work really well. It seems super fast, and yeah, everything works how it should be. So yeah, anyway, that's how I got this thing set up. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. Thanks for tuning in. If this was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. I truly believe this is the best way to host your Payload CMS applications. It's super cheap, super easy to set up. It just took a little bit of figuring it out. So hopefully this video helps with that. Thank you so much.